Your voice, your vote. Personal drug possession in Oregon about to become a crime again. The new law goes into effect September 1st. Why Multnomah County is changing its plan to deflect drug users away from the criminal justice system and into treatment.
On September 1st, there will be an alternative to jail for people who are eligible for deflection.
Details on what the county plans to do temporarily. Do you know who's running for Portland mayor? More than a dozen candidates want the job.
When you get kind of relative newcomers coming in and saying, hey, I want to run for a major office, people say, who are these people?
A local political expert on when the race for mayor really gets going. Your voice, your vote starts right now.
From K2 News, this is Your Voice, Your Vote with Steve Dunn.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Wright Gasway. Steve Dunn has the day off. It's Sunday, August 25th. 1 week from today, Oregonians will see a major change in statewide drug laws. Possessing small amounts of hard drugs will once again become a crime. Oregon lawmakers voted earlier this year to recriminalize drug possession. They rolled back a portion of voter-approved Measure 110. They created a misdemeanor charge with a focus on allowing people to eventually avoid convictions through a process called deflection. Deflection programs are designed to give people with a substance use disorder access to treatment rather than jail. Counties are allowed to come up with their own approach. Multnomah County officials plan to open a deflection center in southeast Portland. However, the county now says that center will open in October instead of next week like planned. K2 reporter Christina Giardinelli explains how the county's program will work for the time being.
In just 1 week, anyone caught with drugs in Oregon could face charges. But Multnomah County's plan to deflect drug users away from the justice system and towards treatment is shifting.
We've ambitiously pushed forward this project to respond to the legislators' actions this spring and ensure people with addiction and substance use issues have alternatives to jail. But based on the latest timeline shared with me, we are not ready to open on September 1st.
County Chair Jessica Vega-Peterson says this is because the nonprofit hired to run this deflection center here is having a hard time hiring licensed nurses. She says come September 1st, the county will still offer deflection.
On September 1st, there will be an alternative to jail for people who are eligible for deflection.
Instead of taking people to the center on Sandy Boulevard, police will call for a behavioral health mobile unit. The Buckman Neighborhood Association has been asking the county to delay opening. The association's co-chair, Jens Knutson, says this announcement is a step in the right direction.
I'm relieved that it's delayed some, but the work is not done.
The association wants a better security plan in place before opening. Knutson is not confident that will happen by the new opening date in mid to late October.
There's no logistical way to pull out a center and an operation of this size in that short of a time frame.
Why not just keep it a mobile unit, since you have so much community pushback about this physical location? You're already getting these mobile units ready. Why don't you just keep it that way?
Yeah, I mean, every time we've opened something, community has always been really concerned about the impact in their neighborhood. The expectation from the public and the expectation is that for how House Bill 4002 work is that there will be now an opportunity to kind of take someone who is in crisis and who are eligible for deflection and moving them to a place where they can be removed from that immediate situation.
In Southeast Portland, Christina Giardinelli, K2 News.
Christina joins us now. Thanks for being here this morning, Christina.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
The community says it wants more time for input on this deflection center. How much resistance is there to putting it at the current location in the city's central east side?
Well, you know, of course, there's a threat of a lawsuit, and that has been the most vocal situation there with Escuela Viva, the preschool, which is just about a little less than 500 feet down the street from where the deflection center is set to open. The preschool hired a lawyer who sent the county, you know, a letter threatening a lawsuit if they didn't delay opening. And one of the things they're asking for is a more robust security plan. They want it to extend further than what the current perimeter is. So the perimeter right now for security at the deflection center goes right up against the preschool, but doesn't include the preschool, so they want it to extend outside of that. And then, of course, you have the neighborhood association, so people who live and work in the neighborhood, and they're in negotiations with the county. Now, we don't know much about what's going on in those negotiations because they are happening behind closed doors. But I did talk to the co-chair of that neighborhood association, and he says they also want more robust security planning as well, and the preschool is part of that association.
What kind of security do neighbors want?
Yeah, so one of the things they're asking for is fingerprinting for people who will be dropped off at the center. Right now, the plan is to have, police will arrest them and drop them off at the center, and if they're a danger to themselves or others, they're not going to be allowed at the center according to the, deflection plan. But there's nothing in the deflection plan right now about fingerprinting for people with sex crimes, for example, and that's a concern with the preschool being so close. So that's one of the things they're asking for.
Deflection might be a new word for some people. How would a deflection center work?
Yeah, so essentially the idea is that police officers arrest somebody who violates Oregon's new drug possession law. So they catch them with drugs, they arrest them, and then if they fit the criteria, so if they don't have any pending charges, and if they're not a danger to themselves or others, as I mentioned, they would give them the option to deflect away from the criminal justice system. So deflect away from charges, deflect away from jail, and go to this deflection center instead. And then they would drop them off there. A successful deflection is if the person checks in at the center, goes through a screening, and then accepts the referral and goes to that referral. So for medical services, for housing, or for drug treatment, they have to accept that referral and go to it within 30 days. That's successful deflection. But if they don't successfully do that, they don't face any legal consequences.
Your story mentioned these mobile units. How would a mobile unit work?
Yeah, so there's a lot of unknowns about that still. We don't know what nonprofit is going to run it. We don't know what type of vehicle they'll use or how much these units will cost. All we know is that they're going to be meeting police officers at a location, so maybe where they catch the person, where they arrest the person, possibly at the jail. They'll meet them there. There'll be a behavioral health provider and a peer counselor, a treatment counselor. They'll meet them there at the location, and that's pretty much all we know about it. We don't have a lot more information, but Sheriff Jessica Vega-Peterson says they'll be narrowing down some of those details over the next few weeks.
The county is planning to spend a lot of money renovating this actual center and building it out. Could it be cheaper to go with these mobile units?
Yeah, as I mentioned, we don't know exactly how much those mobile units cost, but we do know how much this deflection center is going to cost. It's about almost $500,000 for 2 years for the county to rent this building, and then they're going to be spending, or they have spent already, some of it, $2 million to renovate this building. So it certainly seems like it might be cheaper, although hard to say without knowing the exact cost for those mobile units.
If it is cheaper, why does the county chair, in your view, want to open this deflection center?
Yeah, well, I did ask her that question, and she says it's been an ask from law enforcement to have a physical location where they can take people to take them out of the situation that they're in, and they feel that would sort of help with getting them on the road to recovery.
How confident is the county that it can open this deflection center now in October?
Well, Vega-Peterson's response to that question was a little bit vague. She says mid to end of October. She says they're on a good path to opening and they have almost everything narrowed down, but she didn't give an exact date, so we'll have to see if it plays out the way that she says by mid to end of October.
Is the county chair confident these mobile units will be ready to go on September 1st?
She is. She did say, they're just squaring away the last details on that, and she feels that they have a lot of those resources already ready, so we'll see.
Christina Giardinelli, thanks for being here this morning.
Thanks for having me.
When we come back, he's new to Portland politics, and he's running for mayor of Portland.
I think that young people, the future, deserves to have